You are listening to Robert Rivas Radio Morning Show.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Joe Posada to my morning show. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, Robert. Good morning to you too, sir.
Wow, Joe. You know what? Joe invited me to his casa, and I'm going to tell you, man, what a beautiful home you have here, Joe.
Well, thank you very much. It's like work in progress, you know.
Wow, you know, your fruits of your labor, ¿verdad?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been doing this a long time, pretty much. I guess you could say that.
That's right, Joe. That's right. Now, Joe, you know what? I remember back in the day, you were playing at a place called Something Different 2. Do you remember that club?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, like West Avenue. And I remember before you came on, I was DJing there, and you came up to me and you said, Robert, I want you to introduce me this way. And I go, okay, Joe, how do you want me to introduce you? And you said, the Tex-Mex Sax Master. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was young and arrogant and stupid.
But I remember that, and sometimes when I play your music on my show, I always say, the Tex-Mex Sax Master himself, Joe Posada.
Yeah. You know, I signed on with, it was a beer company, a Miller Genuine Draft back in the day, and they kind of gave me that label, you know, and I started believing my own hype, you know, and I guess maybe that's what I said.
I think everybody had their little angle of how to introduce themselves. As to, like, Shelly Lattis told me, hey, introduce me as Little Miss Dynamite.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that. And then you were the Tex-Mex Sax Master, and I was good with that too.
All right.
Anyway, Joe, let's start from the beginning, dude. You were born and raised San Antonio, ¿verdad?
San Antonio, Texas, yeah, right here on the deep west side.
There we go. Lanier High School.
Lanier High School, Harris Junior High.
Woohoo! Now, when you were at Lanier High School, you were in band, ¿verdad?
Correct. I was part of the last sweepstakes band that they had out there. John C. Rodriguez, band director, que descanse en paz, a great band director, great musician. And we had the last sweepstakes all-one band that Lanier ever produced.
When did you pick up a saxophone? When did this all start when you picked up a saxophone, man? Beginning? I was caught shoplifting here at Wynn's when I was a kid. Yeah, I was ripping off some gum or some little minute thing like that. And the cop brought me home, and he told my parents that, you know, I needed to get into something constructive, and that they were offering music lessons at this place called LaSalle High School back in the day. And the following Saturday, my dad took me over there, and I got in line, and I got in the line drum because I wanted to play drums. And when I was next to get my snare drum, and they asked me to move over to the other line because they said, hey man, we're all out of drums, we're going to give you a saxophone, and I didn't even know what that thing was, and they gave me a saxophone. I opened up the case, and little did I know that when I opened up that case, it was going to open up a whole new world for me. And then it turns out that I had an uncle that played saxophone professionally, and Gilberto Bocanegra, and I started taking some lessons from him the summer of my 6th grade. Isn't that something?
So everything kind of just fell in place. I tell people that music chose me. I didn't choose music because I always loved music. As a kid, you know, I was always fascinated by music. So I always tell people that, you know, the music profession chose me.
Boy, Joe, what would have happened if you hadn't gone out there and been shoplifting? Where would you be at, man?
I would have probably moved on to trying to rip off some bigger things.
I make fun of myself sometimes because back in the day when I was little también, I got caught shoplifting Knockers. Knockers, patas.
Yeah, man.
My dad wouldn't give me the money, man, the $5 for Knockers. I said, well, I'm going to rip them off, but nobody gave me a saxophone or anything. So.
Yeah, you know, sometimes things happen for a reason.
Okay, Joe, so look, and now you got your saxophone. You're in high school. You're in high school band. Where did you jump onto being a band member with a band? What was your first band?
Here in the San Juan Courts, right across from where I used to live at, there were some projects here across, and now they're apartments or, you know, but there were some little kids that used to have little combos here in the courts and stuff, and they heard that I could play saxophone, or I used to practice in my mom's garage. I guess they could hear me, and say, "Hey, we're looking for a sax player," and I thought I was ready to play with little bands, and you know, I didn't know any better. So I started kind of experimenting, playing with little combos here and there, garage bands, and we do little parties, home parties and house parties and all that. And started playing with a band called DR and the Interiors. Then I started playing with this group called Fito Riojas y Los Sensations, the Sensations.
Wow.
And then after that, I got in with Rudy T and the Reno Bops. That was my first taste of playing with some professional musicians that were older than me. And with Rudy, it was a great experience because I got a chance to... Rudy's mom lived on Hazel Street, which is the next street down, and they used to rehearse there at Rudy's mom's garage. And when I'd be coming home from school, I would always see them practicing during the day because that's what they did full time. And one day, I'll let Rudy and his brother Red are sitting out there outside the garage, and they look all triste, man. I said, hey, man, what's going on? Y'all not practicing today? I said, no, man, we lost our horn section. I said, hey, man, I know some horn players, man, And they said, yeah, right, sure, and I said, well, I can come back. I'll go get the guys. And I brought some friends of mine that we had already been working together as the horn section. And I brought them in, and that following weekend, we were already playing in Del Rio, Texas, and doing El Dorado and all that. And then with Rudy, we started going out of state, Arizona, Colorado, California. So that was pretty neat. It was a great experience playing with Rudy T.
Now, let me ask you this, Joe. Playing saxophone, do you remember the first song that you nailed on your own playing saxophone? Was there that first song that you said, well, everybody's got a certain song. What was your first song that you learned?
Well, I did a talent show. One of the very first talent shows that I did, I had just started playing. But we were playing a lot of that Tijuana brass music back then.
Oh, man,
and
sure.
Herb Albert,
of course.
Tijuana Taxi and all that stuff. And I could play that song from the beginning to the end, and I thought I was bad. I was like, yeah, man. So that was one of the very first songs. And
my brother, who passed away like about 3 years ago, he was a big Herb Albert and the Tijuana brass. He had all the albums, and of course, Joe Nino. I grew up with the music también, knowing Herb Albert and the Tijuana brass, man.
Great producer.
Good stuff. Okay, now you're playing with Rudy T and the Reno Bops, and then lo and behold, you land with the Royal Jesters.
Well, after the Rudy T show thing that I did, I started playing with this other band called Zapata. Junior Jesse and the Teardrops, and then he changed the name of the band to Zapata. And I was playing with them like 5-6 nights a week at this place called Chances Are nightclub here in San Antonio. And through them, I met David Mares, Oscar Lawson, Henry Hernandez, a part of the Royal Jesters, a big part of the Royal Jesters. And it seems that one of their vocalists had quit on them, Joe Jama quit on them at the time, and they were looking for a third voice. And it turned out that, I happened to sing too, and I played saxophone. So they said, well, good, man, if you want to get in with us, we'll get you in as a horn player and / vocalist. And that's how I got in with the Jesters. I played with them for about 3 or 4 years.
Well, how many albums did you perform with them?
I did the very last album, the Tejano album that they did. I did the band album. The band. But I arranged, maybe 5 out of the 10 songs I arranged.
The band was that's the one that had Ambición, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Si no vuelves al caso
Si al caso vuelves otra vez.
There you go. Cariño Nuevo.
Yeah, a lot of those were my arrangements, back then.
I was telling David Mares when I did the interview with him, I said, también tenía la canción Yo tengo un amorcito, remember that?
Yeah, tengo un amorcito que me está matando.
Simply awesome stuff, man.
Yeah. Okay. But those were great times, because we had a lot of we got to share a lot of soul, and David and I became real good friends. We hit it off right away with the Jesters, and we did a lot of touring together. So, David's kids and my kids, they grew up together. We were always hanging out.
That's the way it should be, no?
Oh yeah.
That's simply awesome. Okay, after the Royal Jesters, where did you go after the Royal Jesters?
After the Jesters, I started playing with this band called Momentous, George Morin and Momentous.
George Morin.
And then Al Sturcio and Sounds of the Spurs, Al Sturcio and Essence, and they also played all the home games for the Spurs back then. When George Garvin when they used to play here at the Hemisphere Arena, I believe.
That's right.
We used to do like 45 home games, and then we played out at Dirty Annie's out in the Loop 410. So I played with them for quite a bit, and after the Al Sturcio thing, that's when Al Sturcio, he's a real good friend of mine to this day. We have lunch once in a while, we get together. He's in his late 80s, and he told me a long time ago when I used to play with him that, one of these days you're going to have your own band, before I ever even considered having my own band.
And to this day, I always ask him, how did you know that I was going to do my own thing? He said, no, that's just the way your work ethic and the way you took charge of everything. I knew that eventually you were going to do your own thing, you know. And, pretty much he pretty much nailed it, because after that, I went out and did my own thing.
I've gone with my son to many, many Spurs games, and I've told him, mijo, I tell him, back in the day, they used to have a band that would perform. Yeah. There was no music the way they play now. There was an actual
it's
band.
all automated now. As a matter of fact, last year's playoffs, they brought the band back to do a couple of games. We did the Golden State Warrior games last year for the playoffs. It was a lot of fun, and then I've been very privileged to play for, let's see, how many championships do we have? 4?
4.
I've been very privileged to play for the championship games on the river barges, following Ginobili and Tony Parker and Tim Duncan with the Spurs band, representing the Spurs band.
There's a fun fact for y'all, everybody. Joe Posada being on the championship bars on the Riverwalk.
So we've done that, and it's a privilege, you know. Of
course, no doubt. Okay, Tu Recuerdo y Yo. Talk to me about the song, man.
We were working on my first CD con Manuel Guerra at Amen Studios, and we were 9 songs into the CD, and we needed one more song for the CD. And we were rehearsing 2 doors down from where we're sitting at right now, my mom's garage, with the guys. We were rehearsing, and we put that song together, because the next day we were going to go record it, which was Tu Recuerdo Yo. And Al Gomez and I came up with a little intro. And we recorded it the next day, and that turned out to be the hit on that CD. And that song pretty much put Joe Posada y El Quinto Sol, as it was known back then, it pretty much put us on the map. And to this day, I play that song on my Tejano gigs. I mean, I pretty much play it twice a night.
It's a must, ¿verdad?
Oh yeah, I mean, people don't want to see me play if I'm not going to play Tu Recuerdo Yo. So go home if you're not going to play that. But yeah, it's one of those songs.
But isn't that something you can hear from so many artists to where the last song, the backside of a so-called hit that was going to be, and that's the one that you would never think was going to be the hit.
Well, that was just a filler. Like I said, it was going to be the last song that we needed just to fill 10 songs. But I've always had the idea or the notion that you want to put 10 strong songs on a CD, and I've always tried to put 10 good songs on a CD. I've never been one to just say, hey, well, let's just throw in whatever we want, some fillers, just because we already have the hit, what you think is going to be the hit. Because you never know. You really can't dictate what people are going to like. People have distinct musical taste, and whatever they call the radio station to request, and sometimes they make a song a hit.
That's right. Now, who wrote the song?
That's an old song by Jose Alfredo Jimenez. When I recorded that song was already like 40, 45 years old.
I didn't know that was Jose Alfredo Jimenez.
Yeah, it's a Jose Alfredo Jimenez song.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Wow, okay.
I wish I would have written that, because I would have a bigger house.
We'd be in Vegas, man, or somewhere else. But this is beautiful house regardless, Joe. This is not chopped liver here, brother. That's all I'm going to say. What album did it come on?
Oh, man. Sheesh. I think that's a title track. No, miento.
Did I stump you on that?
Yeah. No, I think that's on the very first CD. No, it's not on the very first CD.
Do you remember the record label?
It was Cara Records. Man, you got me on that. I've got so many damn CDs.
Of course.
That was actually on an album. That wasn't even CD.
Fíjate, that's what I'm saying now.
The very first project that I ever released also came out on 8-track.
Fíjate.
So that tells you how old I am. I'm like 105.
Well, I tell you what, man. Let's go ahead and take a break, and let's play your big smash hit, Tu Recuerdo y Yo. Okay, Joe?
Let's go for it.
There you go. Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And I'm here with Joe Posada.
En el rincón de una cantina, oyendo una canción que yo pedí. Me están sirviendo ahorita mi tequila, ya va mi pensamiento rumbo a ti. Yo sé que tu recuerdo es mi desgracia, y vengo aquí nomás a recordar que amargas son las cosas que nos pasan cuando hay una mujer que paga mal. ¿Quién no llega a la cantina exigiendo su tequila y pidiendo su canción? ¿Quién no sabe en esta vida la traición tan conocida que nos deja un mal amor? Me están sirviendo ya la del estribo. Ahorita yo no sé si tengo fe. Ahorita solamente yo les pido que toquen otra vez la que se fue. ¿Quién no llega a la cantina exigiendo su tequila y pidiendo su canción? ¿Quién no sabe en esta vida la traición tan conocida que nos deja un mal amor? Me están sirviendo ya la del estribo. Ahorita yo no sé si tengo fe. Ahorita solamente yo les pido que toquen otra vez la que se fue.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And I'm back here with Joe Posada, the Tex-Mex sax master himself. Joe just Anyways, Joe, I mean, tu recuerdo y yo, I remember going to a bar downtown San Antonio called the Spanish Armada in la esquina de St. Mary's y Navarro. And that DJ, man, before I was even in the music business, that guy would play that song every night, 2 or 3 times, man. Y los gritos se oían, man, down the street, down miles and miles away, man. That song was a monster hit for you, Joe.
Yeah, it was a great tune at the time. You know, it was. I went from, we were doing $1,500 playing for the whole week. We were making $1,500 at La Puerta of the Hyatt Regency downtown. And after I recorded that, I was doing like $1,500 a night. So, you know, you know, for back then, you know, it was pretty good money, I guess.
Sure. Okay, after Tu Recuerdo y Yo, what was your next single?
After Tu Recuerdo Yo, I started recording some Joe Rebelde songs, and I did Chica Chica and Aquel Baile. And Aquel Baile was another one of our big hits.
That's right. You also had era Chica Chica and Aquel Baile. I'm kind of going through some of the music here, dude. Let me see here. Tambalea.
Tambalea was also
También, ¿verdad?
Yes.
There we go.
Tambalea.
Yeah, man. I mean, you were just stringing them, dude. You're on fire, man.
Yeah, we were putting them out. Valiente was another big hit.
Awesome song.
Humberto Ramon song.
Awesome song.
So we've been very fortunate to put out some good
Joe,
songs.
how does it feel, man? You know, now we're talking, man, where you're just thinking about just gigging anywhere, not thinking about nothing else, just playing a song, and before you know it, man, you're in the spotlight. You're landing hit after hit after hit. What are you thinking, man?
That you don't have to worry about what you're going to play, because people are going to dictate what you're going to play, because people want to hear what they hear on the radio.
Right.
When they see you live, they want to hear all the stuff that, you know, music brings a lot of memories to a lot of people, and when you hear a certain song, you remember where you were,
And then I get so many people that come up to me, couples, that have been married for a long time, say, hey man, I met my wife in El Baile, at the dance, and we got married, and we met to that, and we danced. Our first song was in Aquel Baile, and to this day, whenever we hear the song, it reminds us of when we met and stuff. So people always draw a lot of deep emotions and memories that songs carry through them throughout the years. So it's always good. And as far as thinking about it, you don't pretty much. You just record them because you think they're good songs and you hope that people will respond to them, and sometimes they do and then sometimes they don't, so it's just
sure. But how unreal is it that your music, knowing that you're affecting a lot of people's lives out there, they're jamming to your music.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's I can't explain that. To this day I can't explain that, but I just do what I do, and I love what I do. And an old geezer a long time ago told me, hey man, if you love what you do, the world's going to love you. And that always kind of stuck to me, and I pretty much use that as a mantra, throughout the years.
I had I'm lost for words here. I had a songwriter one time put it to me when I asked him about his music, his songs, and he said that each song that he wrote was like one of his children.
Yeah.
Do you see it that way?
Yeah. They're yours, but the only thing is with music and with songs, you have to let go. Just like with your kids, they reach a certain age where you have to let go. But when you first start writing as a writer, you don't want to let go of your music because it's real personal.
Sure.
And you don't want to let go, and sometimes it's hard to, but you realize that the way to do it is just to write them, record them, and you let them go, because after that they don't belong to you; they belong to the listeners.
Okay, now one thing that I really I am overwhelmed by your house, Joe. I think it's a beautiful house. Y la cosa es, Joe, que fíjate, you grew up in this neighborhood, and you've never thought about leaving here, have you?
No, I thought about it a few times, but I know everybody in the neighborhood pretty much. I mean, I jog around here, I walk everywhere. Everybody knows me. Everybody's always saying, "Oh, okay, the West Side." I feel so much safer here than I do anywhere else, man. And people respect my property. People respect me, and I treat everybody the way I want to be treated, and I think that goes a long way, So I've thought at one time I did think about it, but no, why go move somewhere else? I mean, it's not where you live; it's how you live, and as long as you want to live a decent life, you can live it anywhere. Was
this your mom's house, or your mom lived a couple of houses away?
No, my mom lived 2 doors down from here. 2 doors down.
And then I take it you purchased this house?
Yeah, it was a little bitty two-bedroom house, and I had a big yard all this time. I bought this house for $11,000, and my dad gave me the $300 for the down payment.
Fíjate.
Back then. And the payments were like $79.50 with insurance a month, and sometimes I would have to struggle to make those payments. But I paid it off, but I still had this big yard, so we added on to it, and con el tiempo we just said, you know what, let's just, instead of moving out and buying a $500,000 home, let's just, do our thing here for a lot less.
Let's stay here in the West Side.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, now, you signed with EMI Latin.
Yeah.
Okay, how did this go?
It was great. They gave me a real nice signing bonus when I signed with them, and that was the time that Bob Rivas sold his stable of artists from Caro Records, and he moved them on to EMI, and it worked out pretty nice. I did, for the first time, I got a chance to start recording my own music with EMI, and they didn't know that at the time that I was going to be doing all original stuff. So when I started releasing my original stuff, they came back to me and they said, hey, well, you're going to have to give us a break on the writer publishing deal because we only do this stuff for guys like Phil Collins. I say, well, I got news for you guys. You're going to have to do that for me too, because I'm not going to give you a break on it. And then they said, well, we're going to think about this come renegotiation time, because they had inadvertently left that clause out of their contract, I said, well, that's good, whatever y'all feel you want to do, but, it's all good. But at the time, I was selling pretty good, so they didn't drop me. They kept me on. But I got a lot of good exposure, because I remember back then I toured in the Far East. We toured Japan, Hawaii, Okinawa, Guam, the Philippines. And everywhere that we went, and all the bases and stuff that we went, they had our music out there, and they were playing a lot of our music too. So EMI gave us a lot of great exposure, which is the thing you want to get the most out of when you're traveling and when you're touring. The only thing that kind of turned me off with Capitol towards the end is that they wanted for me to start dressing. At that time, Emilio was starting to really, they were into the Emilio project, Emilio Navaida, and the cowboy hat and the big belt buckle and stuff. And it's all good. It's all fine and dandy, but they wanted for me to follow that same trend, and they wanted to kind of turn me into that cowboy kind of thing,
Right.
And I said, hey, man, I'm not a cowboy. I don't live out on a ranch. I've been. I think I rode a pony once, and that wasn't a great experience. I live here in the West Side. I am who I am. I'm not going to change my style. And I remember Manolo was in charge at the time, and he says, "No, you're going to have to." And I said, "Dude, I don't have to do anything." So that kind of we started kind of drifting apart as a label artist relationship with that one thing, because I didn't want to play their game as far as that was concerned.
How unreal, because now that you're saying that, record labels will try to change your appearance, your style, and stuff like that accordingly, the way they see fit, ¿me entiendes?
Yeah.
But now that you're talking about this, I don't remember, I don't know nothing about it, but Joe Lopez never dressed that part. He never dressed a Western part.
No, well, he didn't have to, because their music spoke for itself.
And yours as well.
And I remember a couple of artists, and I'm not going to mention any names, but a couple of artists played their game. And it was artists that had no business trying to be cowboys. I mean, for God's sake, come on, man. But I just didn't feel that was right, and I refused to play their game, and I'm glad I stuck to my guns.
There you go. What was your first hit single with EMI?
Dices que soy borracho, que soy un perdido, que no tengo empeño. That one.
Dude, you made me want to crack open some tequila here, dude, with that song, man.
Yeah.
Good song, man.
Yeah. I got the fridge open.
The Gold Slugger, todo. He said, vámonos. You had hit after hit after hit, man. But I tell you what, one of the biggest hits that you had as well was on the breakaway was No Puedo Más.
Yeah.
Talk to me about No Puedo Más. You were giving me the story earlier, man, but I want the listeners, share the story with the listeners.
Well, my drummer was at the time, my drummer was Eddie Rivas. And any relation?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Who knows?
No, it's primo hermano or something, right?
He may owe me $20.
Oh, okay. All right. Then he might deny that he's going to deny that he knows you.
Right.
He was going through some changes at the time, man, and we were playing a gig out at Fiesta, Texas. The theme park had just opened up. Opryland had just bought it, and we were playing some shows out there, and we were making some incredible money out there, man. It was just really nice. We would do our morning shows, and then from there we'd catch a flight to Dallas, go play in Dallas, and catch the red eye, come back, and be ready for the morning show. So we're doing all kinds of jobs out there at the time. We're flying in and out of San Antonio. But my drummer, Eddie Rivas, got ditched by this girl that he really loved, and he was really crazy about her. And I was talking to him one day, and I started jotting down some ideas for the song, and it was kind of inspired by that, No Puedo Más, because he was really down, and for a while there he kind of had the suicidal tendencies and stuff, and we all talked him out of it, of course, but we put together that song, No Puedo Más. No puedo, no puedo, no puedo más, no puedo vivir sin ti. So that's what inspired the song. Like I told you earlier, inspiration is pretty much all around you if you just stop and smell the roses, I guess.
It's simply an awesome song, and I tell you what, let's take another break, and let's go ahead and play No Puedo Más.
Hey.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more, and I'm here with Joe Posada.
Sonreír, que ya no sé lo que es vivir. Desde el día en que te marchaste de mí, no hay razón para mí existir. No, porque no puedo, no puedo más, no puedo vivir sin ti. No puedo más si tú no estás aquí. Las noches parecen la eternidad, parece que no va a amanecer. perdí tu querer. No, porque no puedo, no puedo, no, no, no puedo, no puedo más, no puedo vivir sin ti. No puedo, no puedo, no, no, no puedo, no puedo más si tú no estás aquí. De no sonreír, que ya no sé lo que es vivir. Como quisiera tenerte a mi lado, a poder olvidar el pasado. No, no, porque no puedo, no puedo, no, no, no puedo, no puedo más, no puedo vivir sin ti. No puedo, no, no, no puedo, no puedo más si tú no estás aquí.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And I'm here with Joe Posada. And I tell you what, Joe, is that we can talk about the old stuff, the old school, but we need to talk about today. Let's talk about Baby Dude Records.
All right. Well, you know, I founded the record label 2004. First of all, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit here. After the Capitol experience, I kind of dropped out of the scene. I think I did one album for Fonovisa, and I featured my son on a couple of songs, Joe Jr., and we did a CD for Fonovisa. And then after that, I kind of dropped out of the music scene, not the music scene as a whole, but the Tejano music scene for about maybe 5-6 years.
What happened here, Joe?
Well, for me at the time, the music was getting too accordion spanked. It was getting too accordion spanked, and it lost a lot of its heart and soul. That's just my opinion, you know. I'm not saying I don't have anything against accordion music. I love accordion music, but to me, the music just lost a lot of it. It sounded too prepackaged, too microwavable. Everybody sounded the same. Nobody had any individuality. So I went back to school, you know, and pursued a degree and work on my more music theory, and I started doing more jazz gigs, and I started studying piano privately with Joe Piscatelli and Cecil Carter and some great pianists, you know, that I knew deep down inside that I needed to work more on my composition, and that was the best thing I could have done, because right after that, when I did come back, one day I was listening to the radio. I was driving down 410 listening to the radio, Tejano music. I hadn't even bothered to listen to Tejano music for like 4 or 5 years. And I heard it, and I said, man, it's time to do it again and to put out, you know, I said to myself, I need to release some music and put some heart and soul into it. You know,
Joe,
that's when I did that.
Do you think there was any burnout involved with that?
No, it wasn't a burnout, you know. I had been on the road for 20, 25 years, you know, but I wasn't really burned out. I was just kind of disillusioned with the industry as a whole. You know, it was, you know, a lot of, you know, it's, como decía Mozart, you know, such a beautiful art and such a wretched business, you know, and, you know, sometimes when you really needed it, you know, promoters don't come through, and it's just, you know, it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a dog-eat-dog world for any business, but the music business, you know, for some reason, people really try to take advantage of musicians, you know, and the less you know about the business end of it, the more people have a tendency of wanting to take advantage of you. But no, I wasn't. It wasn't a burnout, because I kept playing. I was doing jazz gigs, and I was working on my craft, you know, more So that worked out pretty good. So when I came back, I did the Baby Dude record label.
Where did you get the name from?
My grandsons, at that time, estaban chiquitos, so that whenever they'd come over to visit, I would always say, hey, it's the Baby Dudes. All right, the Baby Dudes. So Chano Elizondo, my distributor to this day, he's still my distributor, approached me and he said, hey, man, they're requesting your music a lot and it's all out of print, man. Have you ever considered, putting out some music, because you haven't recorded in a long time? And then he told me, I'll put up the money for the studio and we'll pay it off as the shipments come, as the orders are coming in, we'll pay it off. But you need a record label because I don't have a record label. All I do is I'm just a distributor. So he put up like the first 10 grand, and I think we paid it off on the first shipment. They se pagó solo, and I paid him off, and I took the ball and I ran with it with Baby Dude Records after that.
Quick little story here. I used to work with La Fuerza, and they were going to come out with their own record label, and the singer had just had a baby, and the baby would cry a lot. And I would say, man, dude, that baby sounds like a baby monster. And he goes, that's it, Baby Monster Records. It was like a Baby Monster record. And then I see Baby Dude Records. So babies are taking over, man.
Yeah, well, these babies are born and they're so knowledgeable now. I know one of my of course, the one that I named Baby Dude after, he's 19 already. He's going to college. But cuando estaba chiquito, he spent a lot of this time in front of a computer and little math whiz at 3 years old and all this. It's just really abusados, so it's just, that's why when you see my logo, the little baby's got a cigar in his mouth and he's already got a little beard growing.
Ahead of his age.
Ahead of his time. But I started the label in 2004 and we did a lot of the remakes. We did Valiente and Aquel Baile, and we reharmonized some of those tunes. And of course, I needed to put a couple of new songs on there. It was a suggestion of Gilbert Velasquez, my producer. He said, "Yeah, let's put a couple of new songs in there so you can get some current airplay of some new stuff." And that's when we released Con un Cachito, and there was another song there. Sheesh, I can't remember the name of the song. Anyway, but I remember Con un Cachito, and that was one of the big hits off of the first Baby Dude Then and Now CD that we did.
Now, you wrote the song, ¿verdad?
Yeah, that's one of my compositions.
Where did you get the idea for Con un Cachito? I can only imagine. Where did this come from?
Man, I can't. That one, I was just I was just sitting on the piano and I started playing the chord changes, and it was one of those feel-good songs, like Con un Cachito de Sonrisa se compone, your whole attitude. It was just I was just in a real happy, it was a bright, sunny day, and I was looking out the window, and it was just one of those make you feel good kind of things that you're in that mood, and it just came out. That one just kind of rolled off the tip of my tongue.
You being a songwriter, I can understand. It's like what you told me when we were, having a taco earlier. You were saying, man, I can just look around, and if I hear somebody say something, I take it and run with it sometimes, and I just want to write something like that. Have you ever just kind of sat down and said, I feel like writing a song, but I have nothing to write about. Let me think about something. Let me try to get inspired here a little bit. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it happens all the time because it's a craft, it's a skill that you develop with time. And not every day are you going to come up with a hit song.
Sure.
What I've done, there's been times where I have an idea for a song. I've tried to force myself to sit on the piano, when I'm in writing mode, I force myself to sit in front of a piano every day. And then sometimes I'll come up with a real nice idea for the beginning of the song, like the A part of the song. Songs that consist of A, B, and C parts. And then some songs, if they're real simple, it's just an A-B song. So sometimes I'll have a real nice A part, no me sale nada más, so I'll just leave it there. And then 2 days later, I'll sit in front of the piano, and then boom, se vino el B part,
right.
So ahí está la canción.
Right.
So sometimes it's just you do it in increments. Sometimes when you're really lucky and the light shines on you, as they say, sometimes they're gifts from God. When they come to you, te sientas, and boom, you get them right away.
I'm going to ask you a silly question. You have your own publishing, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
What is the name of your publishing?
Risha Music.
There we go. So all of your hits from the past, are they on your publishing?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah, they're all published by yours truly.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, well, the publisher makes 50% and then the writer makes the other 50%. So 50 goes here and the other 50 goes in the other pocket.
That's what I'm saying, because there's a lot of record labels that say, you know what, we get all publishing rights.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
you have to learn the business. Once, a lot of guys say, well, I'm with so-and-so records and go, yeah, but are you making money? And they get real quiet.
I hear you, man. I tell you what, let's take another break and let's play your number one song, from back in the, well, not from back in the day, your number one hit with Baby Dude Records, Con un Cachito.
All right.
Cool. Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more.
Un cachito de alegría se compone el corazón, con un cachito de sonrisa, ahí está la solución. En la vida hay sufrimientos, ¿y qué le vas a hacer? Sigue tú adelante y olvida lo de ayer. Con un cachito de sonrisa hay bastante diversión, con un cachito de una risa es muy buena distracción. En la vida hay sufrimientos, ¿y qué le vas a hacer? Sigue tú adelante y olvida lo de ayer. Con un cachito de sonrisa sentirás tú la alegría. Con un cachito de sonrisa verás que el sol sí brilla. Un cachito de alegría se compone el corazón, con un cachito de sonrisa, ahí está la solución. En la vida hay sufrimientos, ¿y qué le vas a hacer? Sigue tú adelante y olvida lo de ayer. Con un cachito de sonrisa hay bastante diversión, con un cachito de una risa es muy buena distracción. En la vida hay sufrimientos, ¿y qué le vas a hacer? Síguele adelante y olvida lo de ayer. Con un cachito de sonrisa sentirás tú la alegría. Con un cachito de sonrisa verás que el sol sí brilla. Con un cachito de sonrisa sentirás tú la alegría. Con un cachito de sonrisa verás que el sol sí brilla.
Simply awesome. Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. I'm here with Joe Posada, and he's giving us a little taste of piano. This man has talents like you wouldn't believe. Joe.
Yeah.
Piano, bass, saxophone. What else, dude? What else do you play?
Nah, I just dabble with this stuff. I mean, I play enough piano just to get me into trouble with songwriting, and I play a little bit of button accordion, but that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Okay, Baby Dude, record label. What else have you done?
As far as albums and projects?
Sure.
Oh, sheesh. I've got, the catalog, I've got, we've gotten 9 Grammy and Latin Grammy nominations. I've released 2 CDs with David Mares, Corazón de Oro and Eclipse Total. I did a CD with Leslie Lugo, her debut album with Leslie Lugo. Man, I've done maybe 8 CDs on myself.
That is simply awesome, dude. That is simply awesome. Nothing like being your own boss, no?
Yeah, and then, you've set your own deadlines, and if you don't meet it, well, it's not my problem.
So now, today, Joe, if people want to see you perform, where can they go?
Well, your best bet is to go to joeposada.com and then go to events, and I've got my webpage there, and if you go to events, it's got a listing of my dates where I'm playing at.
There we go. Okay, now, aside from that, if somebody wants to book you,
go to my webpage, go to contacts, And you can email me or you can call me. There's some contact numbers there. JoePosada.com.
There you are. Joe, what is in the future for Joe Posada?
Well, I'm going to be releasing another CD as soon as I get back from Europe. I'm going to release my another all original Tejano CD sometime in July. It'll be out right before the convention, the Vegas convention, and then I got another jazz CD in the makes that I'm working on also. So I've got some interesting stuff in the works right now. And hopefully, going back to Europe and doing some more things out there.
Now, you're going to be gone to Europe for 3 weeks, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
You're performing there as well, ¿verdad?
Doing a few little things out there, with my sax and stuff, and kind of work vacation kind of,
That is simply awesome, dude. That really, really is. Joe, you've been in the business a long time, and I don't mean that to make you sound old or us sound old. But
oh, no, I've been doing it a long time.
But you've done your damage, dude. You have done your damage in the music business. You've made your mark. No doubt about it, dude. Now, talk to me about some of the awards you won. Now, you've won 2 Grammys, ¿verdad?
Correct. Latin Grammys. I won, the first one was with Mejor Album with Algo Está Pasando, which was the last album that I released on Baby Dude Records. And then, of course, I was involved with that Just Friends project with David Lee Garza. And then all my other CDs have gotten either Latin or American Grammy nominations, which are all these. And I've got the Tejano Academy Awards. I've got about 8 or 9 of those that I've won, and then some Tejano Music Awards. I've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Tejano Music Awards, and there's some jazz awards that I've gotten with some other stuff there.
Congratulations, Joe, to all of this, dude. Really, man, that is simply awesome, dude. And it's nice to know that people embrace your music, they appreciate your music.
Oh yeah,
and that's what it's all about, right?
Well, it's always nice to be appreciated, and it's nice to be appreciated for what you spend your whole life trying to learn, which is music, because you're always trying to constantly better yourself and learn more music. That's what life is all about. You want to evolve as a person and as a musician.
Sure. Any last words for your fans?
Well, thanks for all the support throughout the years, and keep listening to Robert Rivas Radio, and guys like you that are doing a fabulous job promoting our music. De que no sirve de grabar if nobody's going to play it. So it goes hand in hand. And gracias por todo el apoyo que me han brindado a través de los años, and hopefully I can put out some more music for some more time to come.
Joe, I'd like to thank you for being part of Robert Rivas Radio. Safe travels to Europe. Yeah. When you come back, I definitely need to go check you out performing. Dude, I haven't seen you perform in so long. I need to go check you out, man. And the people need to go check you out.
All right. Just go to JoePosada.com, man.
There you go. Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more with Joe Posada.
Mi último aliento será para ti, mi amor. Hasta mi último aliento me voy a querer hasta el final. Mi mi último aliento, te voy a querer hasta el final. Dios te puso en mi camino, fue la baraja que me dio el destino. Yo para ti, tú para mí, juntos para vivir. Dios te puso en mi camino, fue la baraja que me dio el destino. Yo para ti, tú para mí, juntos para